Praise the Lord. Welcome to our brief Bible reflections. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This week we've been looking at the book of Psalm 31. And so far we have seen David declaring that the Lord is his refuge. And God being his refuge, he gets to a point where we reflected on yesterday in verse number 5, where he says, "Into your hand I commit my spirit." Taking refuge in God means total surrender, allowing God to be in charge of your whole life. And so, as David says this, we see that he is acknowledging that without God, he cannot make it. Again, he continues in this psalm. If you get a chance, you can read the entire psalm where he sees he sees the mercies of God taking charge of his life, and he's acknowledging that were it not by your mercies, I would have been consumed. He continues to acknowledge his wickedness and allowing God to be in charge of his life. We'll read verse number 14, 15, and 16, where he says, "But I trust in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hand. Rescue me from the hand of my enemies and from my persecutors. Make your face shine on me, on your servant. Save me in your steadfast love." Praise the Lord. He continues to declare that his trust is in the Lord, and he calls him my God. I say, you are my God. Taking refuge in God once again is total trust in the same God. Putting your trust in God, and also not just any other God. Let him be your God. He declares again in verse number 15, "My times are in your hand." Remember verse 5, he says, "Into your hand I commit my spirit." Now, not only my spirit, my times are in your hand. In other words, God, you know me so well. I have nothing by myself. Everything that I have now and everything that I'll get tomorrow is all about you, God. My times are in your hands. It is God who determines where we should be, where we will be. And so it is good to allow him to be in charge of our lives. Again, he's able to rescue us, to hide us from all harm. No wonder he says, "Rescue me from the hand of my enemies and my persecutors." Because my times are in your hands, you are in charge. My enemies, my persecutors cannot overtake me because God is together with me and my times are in his hands. He's pleading with God, "Make your face shine on your servant." This is a good prayer for us today, that the Lord may make his face shine upon us. The second prayer in verse number 16, "Save me in your steadfast love." Remember we said in verse number 1, David acknowledges that it is only through God's righteousness that we can be delivered. Now in verse 16, he is pleading, "Save me in your steadfast love." All what we can achieve in this life is through the great love that God has shown us in our lives. Again, our salvation is as a result of this steadfast love of God. David is pleading with God that, "Lord, save me in your steadfast love." What we are learning from David in this psalm is that when you trust in the Lord, it is good to know him at a personal level. When you say you trust in God, it is good also to ensure that you do not withhold anything from him. You release your spirit to him. You release your times to him. You allow God to be in charge. And you also acknowledge that you cannot do anything without God. Without God, we are nothing. We shall succeed when the face of the Lord is upon us. We shall succeed when the Lord delivers us through his righteousness. And again, when he saves us in his steadfast love, we are more than victors. Verse number 24, the last verse of this chapter says, "Be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who wait for the Lord." Whom are you waiting for? Wait upon the Lord. And when you wait upon the Lord is charging you to be strong and take heart. Be strong and courageous. You who wait for the Lord, let us put our trust in God. Let us allow God to take charge of our spirit, our times, and our everything. And He will renew our strength. He will give us the grace to move on and to continue trusting in Him. God bless you. God keep you. Have a lovely day and a lovely weekend ahead. Shalom.